Martin, thank you so much for joining today's episode. The project managers versus AI. Who wins? And so this session is going to be full and packed with great information. Looking forward to some of the responses. Just informal dialogue as well. So if we would just want to get started. First question, in your opinion, will AI replace PMs or elevate them? Any thoughts there?
For me, I don't think AI can do the PM's job, but it can elevate the PM. For example, for us, for me specifically, when I do project charters before, like I would get stakeholders in, it will be a kickoff meeting to get all the scope, blah, 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 justification on why we need to do this. So in that meeting, my focus is like 50-50 because one, I'm taking notes of what everyone's saying. And then at the same time, trying to understand and decode and make sure that the flow is going, right? And then after that, I'll record the meeting. I'll have to listen to that meeting again to make sure that I capture whatever I missed. Right? That's another hour. And after that, there will be like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to draft the charter on, hey, why are we doing this? What's the background? What's the current process? What's the proposed, and why is that better? And what are the benefits? And like the money thing, what's the ROI? Blah blah blah. Right now, I've built a custom GPT that so in meetings like that, I don't have to take notes because we have, like you said, you have a transcriber.
Transcriber, yep.
And then I get the transcription and put it in the custom GPT that I built that is trained on what format I like to do. So now the charters are done in like 5 minutes.
It's amazing.
So there's no, I mean, obviously the output is not the output I'm going to put in the document and submit. I have to read through it and I have to make sure that since I'm fully engaged in that meeting, I'm able to say, okay, they didn't say that, or they're missing this, they're missing that. And I'm able to add that without having to think of the admin, like, oh, and I have to make sure that my notes are legible, understand why I put it in a certain way and in codes because I need to go to the next topic, right? So now it's just really me churning in what do you need, why, how much, who do you need, when do you need it, when, and I get all those info and transcribe properly, excellently with AI. So now I get all the transcription, put it in the custom GPT type build, and the charter is out in like 5 minutes. Well, less than that actually. It's like literally 30 seconds, but then I spend next 5 minutes trying to organize it, making sure that everything is read right and all that.
That's amazing. So it saves you hours. We definitely know the project charter, just getting everyone in the room, sorting through what the scope is, our financials, timeline, all, and assumptions.
No, yeah, you have to pick and choose who said that, where was it said, like did they agree on the timeline? And then for me, as other than the charter, it's the minutes, because an hour-long meeting, there will be lots of highlights, decisions made, and then there's like next steps and then actions needed. So now I take the same transcription, put it in another GPT that says your role is to organize this into key highlights, decisions made, actions needed, and next steps. And then after the meeting, in 5 minutes, I'm able to send minutes of the meeting because I've already done the work, the prompting that needed, the chain of thought needed to get to where the output would be. So now every meeting that I have, even if it's not a kickoff, it's more like a project update meeting, I'll just get that, put that in there, and gives me the minutes that I need, and then we go from there. No more grunt work, like taking notes. Did they do it? Did they not do it? I'm gonna ask the questions, right? And then we go on from there.
Yeah, I know if you're like me, sometimes I have a hard time reading my writing.
No.
And so I have to go back.
At some point, my notes become like a chaos in a way that I have to decipher, why did I write this? And there's a reason I would write it. And so there's like extra mental load there. Now not having to remember why I wrote certain things or why I coded it this way. Also, even for preparing me for meetings, right? Like, here's what I need to get out of the meeting. Give me an agenda. Give me questions that I could ask to get the agenda that I need, right? And then I can give it full context. This is where the project is, blah, blah, blah. But I need decisions on ABC. How do I best frame that? So having that tool on hand and say, hey, we have we're in a fork road. You want it fast but expensive, or slow but correct, right? Give me,
Right.
and then you give me, you decide on when, but you can't have both, right? So it's kind of like, that's kind of like the tool. So being clarity up front rather than fast, the typical, um, you say yes to everything.
Yep.
It's more providing context and clarity so that they can make faster decisions that way.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. So I want to ask, what's an example where AI made your project life easier? I know you mentioned this, just kind of the transcriptions,
Charters,
just
yeah,
being able to get that charter out correctly, faster. But are there any other examples that come to mind where life
yeah.
has been easier for you?
So for us, so I deal mostly with IT projects right now, but I could see it in a way we're in. Not every project has been done like multiple times over. So there's already a template out there that doesn't people that don't have. So whenever I get a project like, hey, ERP rollout for the whole company, right? So before, I have to brainstorm with the tech, with the devs, or with the sysadmin people, with the BAs, and say, hey, what do we need to do first step, second, third, fourth, fifth? And we come out, we it's essentially before it would be like a 2 hour workshop wherein, hey, it's process A and then process B, C and D. Now with AI, I could go, give me the high level task. Here's the context of where we're going. Here's what we're trying to do, and give me high level tasks. And then the team fills out the gaps. Like okay, for us to reach that, we're gonna need to do A, B, and C. But now the framework is set. So the workshop is from like maybe 2-3 hours to like 30 minutes, and they
Yeah.
have a board that goes into like, okay, when I say board, it's a project board. We use Monday.com, so they have an ability to add subtasks to that high level task. And now everyone's like, okay, this is where I need that, and this is where I need that. And now you have a full plan in like minutes. So that in itself is like gold, because like if imagine, yeah, if that's one project in a portfolio like ours, we manage about 70 to 100 a year. So
Wow.
if you multiply that with the number of hours saved for the number of projects done in a year, it's it's very big.
Yeah, and I know I guess, is it safe to say? I know from our perspective, we try to save on, those all day. We used to have all day requirement sessions,
Oh,
so used to be so painful.
we have a small company that the people can't afford all day meetings. So we're also a global company. So we have people in Europe, we have people in ANZ. So the time zones won't work for an all day thing.
Ah,
Not everyone can, even if you have Zoom, like, like my meetings for Europe is until, it's morning until 11, because that's like 3 to 5 p.m. for them. And
ah,
then meetings with ANC from 4 to 6, because that's like 8 to 10 a.m. for them. So an all day meeting for a global project is kind of not in the cards. So really a tool like this helps us, here's the context. And then I work with, my counterparts there, make sure that they fill in the gaps there.
perfect. Thank you so much. This is good. So, is how should project managers upskill to stay relevant alongside AI? Do you have any recommendations from that perspective?
So for me, I think you have to understand your workflow. What do you do that's repetitive, that can be systemized? Like the minutes, like minutes in with project managers. I know sometimes where they say project managers are glorified note takers, right? Like that's like the stigma. Hey, you just take notes and you push out, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's kind of how you keep people in line. That's how you keep people in check, and then that's how you attach responsibility and accountability to tasks, so that make sure that
Exactly.
everything is set. So that in itself, that the minute taking is a repetitive, but it's also time consuming, and there's a lot of details that can be missed. So that in itself is a system that you need to have as a project manager tool, with AI or without AI. You can continue working with a notebook, write your notes, and you have a system on how you want to churn out minutes, fine. But with AI, like you could always say, okay, this is how my format would look like every time. Every single project, it would look the same, so that when I search for something, I could find it. So now that you have that, you can put a system behind it and can create a GPT. Hey, you're a note taker. Your goal is to So my prompt is something like, "Oh, you're an expert note taker of like 20 years with project management experience. Your output needs to be, you're gonna get input from me in terms of project notes, project transcriptions, or information. I need you to translate it into key highlights, decisions made, actions needed, and next steps. These are the sections." And with the formal tone, audience will be depending on the meeting, project members or executives. 'Cause there's different communication styles between executives. For if your notes are for the C suites, it's different versus your project teams or have different GPTs for the same purpose. And after that, I don't have to prompt anymore because now it's trained on what it needs to do. I just drop the notes every time, and it gives me the minutes in like 5 minutes after I've
Yeah.
done the work.
Yeah, so I think prompt engineering, huge, huge. And maybe personas or groups. I've seen folks kind of group based on the audience. Like you mentioned C-suite. Maybe we have a chat, or I don't want to say LM, but a chat dedicated to C-suite. Maybe a chat
I do have
dedicated to
that.
the tech folks. Yeah, exactly. I think that is a great
I would
upskill
even take it
mechanism.
a step further. I would have a chat for every project. Like what I
Ah,
do
that's
is I have
amazing.
in ChatGPT, you have an ability to have project folders, right? Like smart
Yes,
folders. And every chat in there is one project. So what I
that's
do,
amazing.
so in every chat, this is project. So I create a charter with the same chat. Now the charter is done. Hey, okay, we progressed. Meeting number one. Here's the transcript. You do your stuff. And then if I forget, did they do this? Question mark. And then the chat is able to give me, you haven't given me information that they did it. So maybe ask if they did. Also at the same time, I could say, okay, this is the last minutes that we sent. Give me an agenda based on that minutes, and here were the tasks that were finished. Like then
Amazing.
they can close that off in the agenda, and then in the start of the meeting and say, okay, based on the last minutes, here are the open action items status done, not done. That's it. They like give me excuses or reasons behind why it's not, but it also that every time we have this meeting, I'm gonna ask you so that now they're prepared to either date their boards or give context of why it's not achieved or give BS sometimes reasons on why it's not done. So, but I think that the consistency of having to have being able to show up with notes and the plan itself, I think keeps people aligned and accountable, and that kind of makes them, um, more likely to deliver.
Excellent. Excellent point. That's something I didn't think about, the project folder structure. Definitely will need to set that up on my chat GPT. So thanks for that one.
Yeah, sure. Let me know. I'll help you.
That's a good one.
As I've built it for the team too. So it's the GPTs that I built. I've shared it to the team, so they're free to use like my minutes. My minutes. Even so we're a global company, so I built we used to pay for translation because the Google Translate is iffy.
Uh,
It's not very good. So imagine sending like formal communications and having Google Translate do it. So what we did, so before when ChatGPT was fairly new, I volunteered because I wanted to experiment. Like I want to try it. Like okay,
yeah.
here's so I said okay, and I didn't build it from scratch. I also asked ChatGPT. I want to try to make a custom GPT that translates from English to French because we have French, Portuguese, and German. Those are the four official languages that we communicate with every time we send com. So HR would need translation, and they used to pay third party to do it. And every time what we did before is we would use Google Translate, and then we would have locals that are in, let's say somebody from Germany, vet the translation and say, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this sounds funny because it sounds like it doesn't sound natural language speaking. So what I did is I worked with them and I said, okay, if it's wrong, tell me why it's wrong, right? And then
Yeah.
we built so for an English, we have an English document, and then I put the what do you call it, the translation in a column beside it, and then another column to say, okay, this is wrong, this is the right one, but the reason why it's wrong is this, and then I use that file. Hey, learn from this.
Yeah.
What? Learn from this. Now that it's learned from that, the next translation is like 80% better. Then, but there's still more. I think after 4 or 5 iterations, they said it's good enough. But now they just drop the English thing and then they just get the translation and use it directly to email without having to
That's
think about.
amazing.
So
That's
that was
amazing. I
like,
was just, yeah, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I took a trip to Bali a few weeks back. So
in
I used my
Indonesia.
Google Translate. And needless to say, some other folks laughed. I'm like, okay, I know
Yeah,
this didn't translate
I
appropriately.
think that it's
So
gonna
I
get.
think
I
that
think
is a top skill.
Google would definitely improve that. I think they were first in the game for it, so I think at the very least, it would get you to where you need to be. But I think from our perspective, if we're using it to communicate outside the company,
Correct.
right? So we don't want to sound like a company that just use Google Translate. We would need to be able to sound professional, and come with a certain brand sound. So to do that, we trained GPT with the local speakers. And at some point right now, I think we don't have to do anymore. It's like it's trained enough in a sense that they're happy with the translations,
That's
Portuguese,
amazing.
French, and German.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let me ask you, how do you coach skeptical project managers who are worried about AI taking over? Any thoughts?
I think for me, it's not showing that it's not telling why it's important. It's showing results. Like whenever I show them the custom GPT for minutes, like for the any meeting that we have, they're like bought in, like, oh, give me that. Like any PM struggles with minutes, and by the time they're out
Correct.
with the first minutes, like 2 days after the meeting, they have another meeting that they have to do another minutes
They,
for,
yep.
right? So it's like, okay, I'm never getting out of the cycle where I have to transcribe, understand, reorganize, and then send the minutes. And the moment I've sent that, there's another meeting that just finished 2 hours ago that I have to work through. So every time I have a PM struggling with AI, I just show that and they're bought in. And at the same time, like that's like the tip of, and then what I say is that's the tip of the iceberg. That's not even the closest thing that you could use. There's research, there's like the high level tasks I talked to you about, even decision making sometimes is how do I frame this so that it's easier for the CCs to decide. Give me a way to illustrate. Here are like the pain points, and here are the how much it costs to fix it, but how do we prioritize? So instead of me instead of it being like a Google search with where I search for something and I ask for answer, it's more like a sparring body where I say, hey, like reason with me on why this would be it. Ask me questions. So the thing I always like to use, give a tip for your listeners. Every time you're not sure of something, instead of asking it for, hey, I need this, give me this, it's more at the very last end, you put ask me clarifying questions that would help you give me 95% of the answers that I need.
Good. That's good.
So when I do that, okay, so because I don't know how to give it context the way I need to, but it knows what it needs. So when I put that line in there, it's gonna ask me like 6, 7, 8, 10 questions, and then once I provide the answers, the output is like 150% better. Like
Wow.
you would not believe the output that you'd get by just simply adding that one line. Just adding that one line, okay, it will force it to think, okay, how do I get to that answer? And it would continue asking you questions until it's sure, like 95%. So I don't put 100%. Somehow it's like it breaks at 100% because it's like, how do I get to 100%? Like 95% is good enough for me. So once you've done like 10, 15 questions, the output will be so much better. So if you're doing presentations or you're doing update decks, especially for C suites, you can't have like all the details in there,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Correct.
have to be high level, like 50,000 feet level. So how do I cram all these updates that I have into just one slide with 3 bullets? That's it. So that's kind of where AI comes in, where you answer these questions.
Mhm. I've even seen it for like SALs, right? Statement of works. Let me ask you this. Do you think there's a risk that PMs become too reliant on AI tools?
Oh, for sure. I think at some point, if you just rely answers on, and I'm guilty of this too. Like I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT and that's it. I think if you lose the curiosity of critical thinking, then you become too reliant, and then you can't function without it, and that's the risk that you're running into. Also, if you take everything that it outputs as good, then there's no like thinking, oh, it makes sense, doesn't make sense, it's missing this, it's missing that. If you lose that part, I think you're you doing yourself and your team members a disservice, honestly. So I think the goal is for you to be the strategy and it become your workhorse, right? You're setting direction and you're just getting there faster with AI rather than it replaces you completely, like the thinking, the strategy, and then you just go out tag along. That's not how it should. So the risk would be, you have to be always thinking strategic and also project management, a lot of people management. So AI cannot deal with like the emotional intelligence part of the PM work. So it can't tell that somebody's burnt out. I wish it could, like, but but it doesn't. Or if the team is stressed, if the room is like tense, how does it, how do you remove that tension? I don't think AI can deal with that. So that's still where you need to be. So, but that's where your focus could be if you shift everything to AI, like the admin part, all these, the making the deck, automating your reports. If you put that into AI, because it's very good at those technical stuff, very good. But the people part, like dealing with how to make people, because as PMs, we're not the ones really doing the thing for the project. We're managing, making sure that they meet the deadlines, understand why it's important to meet that. That's kind of hard to churn out using AI, but that's a lot of, hey, how are you doing? Any help needed? Checking in, not day to day, but maybe every 2 days or 3 days, and different styles for different people, right? Some people like being followed up. Somebody just like to be left alone. So it currently does not do that. So I would still make sure that you stay strong in that area as well and leave everything that's like admin stuff to AI.
I think that's spot on. So emotional intelligence, the people side, just the emotional connection. So understand those are PM skills that can never be replicated, things of that nature. So I think that is spot
Yeah,
on.
and really like PMs like to play in the gray area. Like we don't really wait for 100% of the information before we decide. Like we decide and then we improve, right? Like if
Correct.
something's delayed today, we shift on the fly because we say, okay, if that's not done yet, then we'll do this. But AI
Correct.
would need, hey, task A to all be finished before we start B. But for us,
That's a good point.
because okay, B, you start, for first few days in parallel with this, it's fine. It's gonna catch up. You can make that decisions, and that comes with experience. That comes with
Yeah.
doing the work, right? But right now, AI can't do that because AI needs to be. Wait, you said plan is finish plan A and then proceed with B. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wait until all information is done. So with us being here, we play in the gray area. We make that decision on the fly, and we inform. We take the risk. We understand the risk of if we do this, what happens if it fails. So that's kind of where we play, and that's kind of like where our playground is, right? So I would say, yeah.
I think that's an excellent point when it comes to the project plan. AI just executing based on task A, B, and we're able, from the human perspective, to take a look at, hey, let me pull task C or D
Yeah, yeah.
up, and maybe you can run this in parallel perspective. I think that's an excellent point too. So,
Awesome.
if your AI bot had a personality, would it be a drill sergeant, a therapist, or a DJ?
I'd say it's a cross between a therapist and a DJ. Definitely not a drill sergeant, because I don't like being told what to
So,
do.
right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it could definitely use more of the DJ vibe where it's like, oh, meeting with the executives, I need like a eye of a tiger song behind. Like, give me juice to prepare and get there. But really more therapy, I guess. It's like it's more okay. Have a I also deal with like when I have conflicts. So I know I said it doesn't have EI per se, but if you ask it, like if you frame it in okay, have a problem. This person doesn't want to do this. This person doesn't want to do this. How do I make sure that I'm able to deliver a message across without having to offend? Because I'm very upfront. So I've struggled before with saying what I mean saying what I want to say and saying how I should say it is kind of different. Like when I moved to Canada in the Philippines, I worked in a factory setting. So in the factory, kind of have to have a different communication style because the people on the floor would not be so polite when you ask of them things. So not to say that I'm impolite, but it's also the messaging is different. The messaging is direct to the point. You're not doing your job, therefore our stuff is failing. That's like in your face, right? When I came here, I'm not surprised. I had to shift that kind of approach because now it's like we have to be sensitive with everyone, and then we have to be so I'm adapting to a new culture as well. So the ways of working are definitely different cultures, different approaches for different things. So I have to. So if I put context, here's the workplace, here's what the and that helped me structure my message so that it drives the point but does not offend, right? So it would give you, but that takes self what do you call this, self reflection, that I'm not good at that. Teach me how to do it. Like, here's what I mean to say. Like, you didn't do your job, we're delayed because of you, and I need you to fix it, and I need a plan from you. And it would turn that into, okay, what can we do to make it better? Here, how can I help you remove roadblocks, so on and so forth. But obviously, if you have to think through your emotions, kind of hard. But putting it into context, put it into writing, gives you a time to pause before you send like a heated message. I'm just okay, calm down, put it on paper, convert this into something that would be constructive, right? Like, rather than just point fingers, blame game, and then just be detrimental to the project. So
yeah, I think that's spot on. I see the DJ and the therapist. I see the mix there. So that's a good mixture there. So just really quick last question. What's your dream AI co-pilot feature that doesn't exist yet?
Ability to read the room. Like, I think like
That's so good.
the transcripts would be one. Like, it would just, what did you say, it would put that in the transcript, but it does not say, like, reading the tone on how it's said, or reading the body language in that room when they say, oh yeah, when they agreed, yeah, we'll deliver it. But you could see that it's like not gonna happen, because it's like they already believe in their head it's not gonna happen. We're gonna have this meeting a week from now, and we're gonna explain why it's not happening. Right. So I think right now that context is done, which is what the PM's job is, right? Is to understand, read the room, why, and then understand, be able to shift that into something positive. You're not able to meet it, how, and then we help them break that down into steps that are actionable. But with AI right now, that's not there. Right now, it's whatever you said, I'll transcribe, put it in paper. So there's like loss in translation there. But really, you have to be in the room to understand those little things. And sometimes those little things are the one that shifts timelines, scope, and cost, right? Like, because they're saying, oh yeah, I need this. Like, if the executive says, I really want this feature, but it's not in the charter. But at the end of the day, for him, that's like the expectation. Even outside the charter, he still expects this feature anyway. Then if you didn't catch that, it's just gonna say, oh, we said it's not in the charter, and then you leave it at that. That, guess what? Even after, in his mind, you failed because now you didn't cater to my stuff. Like, but if you say, okay, if you really wanna add that to the charter, so if we add that, it's gonna cost this much, and the timeline will shift by this much. Agree? Disagree? Yeah, agree. We'll spend 10,000 more. Well, take 6 more weeks, but I'll get my feature. Great. Now that's there. So that's kind of you being in the room. But right now, the AI will capture, oh, he wants that. We said no, that's it. There's nothing else after that. But at the end of the project, you'll get, oh, yeah, but you didn't give me this. Right. And then every project that you have after with him, it's like, oh, this guy didn't give me what I want. So
yeah. Ability to read the room. I think that's majorly important. Well, thank you so much, Martin. This has been helpful. I appreciate your AI knowledge, lessons learned, those tidbits you were able to share. And we look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.